everybody. How you doing today? I hope you're having a good day. I mean, it's another day the Lord has made and gives us an opportunity to do something for Him. And so we consider spiritual thoughts in these messages. Now, several years ago, I read a article by a preacher friend of mine in Texas, Larry Bunch, and he had a article titled "We Want Our Hogs." Well, I developed this into a sermon, and so that's what we're going to talk about today. We want our hogs. And see, God offers blessings, but people want what will bring them a curse. And we know that's the way most people are. And so this is hard to comprehend, or is it? No, it's not hard to comprehend. Uh, let's look at a story we have in the New Testament in the Gospel account of Mark. Mark chapter 5, verses 1 through 20. And so we know that the things written down are for our benefit and they're given for our learning and our instruction. And these help us develop our understanding of who Jesus was and what he did for us. So this story takes place right after the night before in Mark chapter 4, the last few verses. Jesus was sleeping. They were worried about it, so he calmed the seas and said, "Peace, be still." And so that had just happened. Now, when we start paraphrasing Mark 5, 1 through 20, we're going to set up our story. See, they crossed the sea and came to the land of the Gerasenes. This area was predominantly Gentile. And they arrived, and immediately we meet a person by the name of Legion coming out of the tombs. And of course, the name Legion means many, and we'll mention that again in a little bit. And the creature with the demons saw Jesus and came and bowed down before him and said, "Please don't destroy us. Please don't kill us." And Legion recognized Jesus was a son of the Most High. Now, the disciples marveled, right? It says the disciples marveled. What sort of man is this that even the wind and sea obey him? I mean, they said that just the night before. And now here's a demon coming down and bowing before Jesus and calling him the Son of the Most High. And so they did not know Jesus was the Son of God, but this demon did. And, they should have figured it out by now, but they have. It'll take a while, and not until several years later when Jesus asked them, "Who do people say that I am?" And so Jesus had commanded, but Legion resisted. Jesus said, come out, but Legion resisted. And the demons requested that Jesus allow them to continue to exist, and Jesus gave them permission. But then the herd of swine, he gave them permission, so he cast them into the herd of swine. What did the swine do? Swine got crazy, ran down steeply into the sea, and they all drowned. Now, when you think about it, that caused a stir in the country, and people came to see what was happening. I mean, there were witnesses saw this, and they came and observed the man who had been demon-possessed. And everyone knew him. They were all afraid of him because he was so wild and unpredictable. And they all inquired, how is this possible? And the ones that did see it, they declared that Jesus did this. Then they asked Jesus to leave. I mean, think about that. Jesus did something great. He restored this man to health. They don't have to be afraid of him anymore. But then they said, "Will you please leave? We don't want your kind around here." Now, why would they ask Jesus to leave? And there's many reasons for asking Jesus to leave. We find out that someone with a lot of wealth, they lost a lot of wealth when the herd of pigs died. Mark says there was about 2,000 of them. If it was 4 or 5 pigs running in the sea, nobody would make a big deal about that. They probably would, oh, well, that's just another loss. But 2,000? And they blamed it on Jesus. I mean, he did something good, but they blamed it on Jesus. And maybe perhaps they were afraid that he would destroy more hogs. And so, and like I said, they were mostly Gentiles, and they were not prepared for a Messiah. And this man must have been a troublemaker, so they were thinking, so they asked him to leave. Even today, Jesus is asked to leave our schools, our workplaces, our recreational activities, our government buildings, entertainment, and society at large. Leave, Jesus. We don't want your kind around. And that includes your followers. And so we're facing that today. So in our story, Jesus, okay, you don't want me around? I'll leave. So Jesus gathered his group and went to the boat to leave as requested. But the man formerly with the demons asked to go with him. But Jesus said no. Jesus refused his request. Now, why would Jesus refuse anyone to follow him? I mean, it really doesn't make sense until you find out what he did. See, Jesus told him to declare to his people all that had happened to him. And so the text tells us in the last verse 20 that this man went throughout his country and declared what Jesus had done for him. So the reputation of Jesus was magnified and expanded because of what he was doing. See, there's lessons we learn from this story, and we just have to sometimes dig a little deeper to find out what the lessons really are. See, we know, first of all, there should have been rejoicing. A man was healed. A man with a big problem scared everybody and probably caused a lot of harm to people. All of a sudden, he's normal again. I mean, there should be rejoicing here. But that fact was ignored totally. See, the people were selfish, and they were afraid of losing money or wealth, and so in that sense, it kind of tells you who their God was. It wasn't God, but it was their money, their wealth, their possessions, and they were afraid they would lose more. And so this kind of shows the extreme to which worldly interests will excite men. They get all excited about worldly things, but when it comes to spiritual thoughts, everybody seems to downplay it. See, worldly gain is valued above the blessings of Jesus. But you remember what Jesus said, what does it matter if you gain the whole world and yet lose your soul? What will a man give in exchange for his soul? And so worldly gain is valued far above the blessings of Jesus, and that's what most people in this world do. And honestly, we can say this is very foolish. And we can say that, yet they don't think so. They think that salvation is foolish. They think that belief in God is foolish. They think that teaching the gospel is foolish. And even the Bible is foolishness to them. It is not uncommon for men today to value the material wealth of this world over the spiritual blessings that are found in Christ Jesus. And sadly, even many people who claim to be followers of Christ, they're struggling with this. The material wealth of this world has such an allure to them that sometimes they struggle with putting Christ first in their lives. And as a result, you just got to figure they've got to be very miserable people. See, the cry still goes up everywhere. We want our hogs. See, Jesus offers salvation. It requires commitment and obedience. But the people exclaimed, we want our hogs. Like I said, the word legion meant many, so these hogs are legion today as they were then. Some of the types of hogs, and here's just a few. The hog of dishonesty. I mean, a lot of people get by with dishonesty, and as long as they're not taken advantage of, they're okay with it. The hog of popularity, whatever it takes to get popular. And some people find out being popular means doing something you shouldn't be doing. And the hog of entertainment, pleasure, and worldly lust. I mean, that's there. The hog of sensual desires and pride, which basically runs practically the whole world. And the hog of big I and little you. People filled up with themselves, and it's always me over you, what I want, as opposed to what is good for anybody else. And of course, that includes the hog of riches and covetousness, like we find in our story. And then, of course, the hog of the opinions of men. Sometimes men speak, people want to listen, but when God speaks, they want them to shut up. And so that's what happens in our world today. So these are just some of the things they are not willing to give up so that they can be blessed by God. They don't realize that. They can be blessed by God by giving up these things. But no, they want to keep their hogs. They don't want to let go of what they have. And as a result, when they're given a choice to obey the gospel or to remain in their sins, most people just choose to remain in their sins. They don't want to give up their lifestyle. They don't want to give up what they have. And so that's the problem that a lot of people have with obeying the gospel and becoming a child of God. And we know there's many other hogs out there. And anything that keeps our attention away from Jesus becomes our hogs and our pigs. We might call this a form of idolatry, and that's what it is. And what we really need probably is to have a barbecue and an old-fashioned hog killing. And I know they still do it out on the ranches and the farms. They still do it in the countryside. And really, it's kind of enjoyable to go to a barbecue and eat one of these things. But still, we all need to remove the hogs that keep us out of heaven, whatever it might be. So do you have things in your life that you're not willing to give up? If you do, that's one of your hogs. And of course, we know in the scriptures, hogs were not appreciated very much. I mean, very well. And Jews were prohibited from eating hogs and pigs, and they were prohibited from even owning them. So that's why Gentiles own these pigs. But anyway. So do you want to keep your hogs, or will you accept Jesus Christ and do his will as is found in the New Testament? And by doing so, following him and obeying him, and then being blessed by him. Because the greatest blessings are found in Christ. There are no spiritual blessings outside of Christ. Ephesians 1:3 tells us that. And so we need to be in Christ to have spiritual blessings. But also being in Christ means we are a new creature. We are different. That means we have to get rid of the old. That means get rid of the hogs. But however way you want to look at it, the choice is always up to us. It's always your choice to make. Am I going to obey God and receive his blessings, or am I just going to do what the world says and ignore the blessings that God makes? Now, you could choose to follow a false teacher who will tell you, well, you can just ignore God's blessings, but he'll still bless you. You can believe something like that if you want to. But if you read the Bible and you study the Bible as you should, you'll find out that's not the case. We must give ourselves entirely to Jesus, entirely in our whole being. I mean, we must deny ourselves and follow after him. So think about these things, and it's a very simple lesson, but one that's very simple to understand. And just give up your hogs, whatever those hogs might be, because those hogs will keep you out of heaven. All right, that's our lesson for today. Consider these thoughts, and Lord willing, be back again with another lesson. Bye-bye for now.